Welcome to an absolutely glorious evening in Seattle, Washington. We're here at Husky Stadium. Fox Sports Net presents Pac 10 college football. Tonight, it's the number 23 rated Oregon State Beavers and the 13th ranked Washington Huskies. And hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is Tom Ramsey. Last week, Oregon State pulled off one of their biggest wins in the last 40 years. They beat a top 10 team, USC, for the first time since 1967. Tonight, they can take it to another level as they haven't beaten both SC and Washington in the same year since Harry Truman was president back in 1946.
Well, Steve, if you want to be a championship team, you have to go out on the road and win games. Oregon State has a big challenge tonight. The Huskies are awfully tough at home. The crowd's going to get into it. And I'll tell you what, if you're Washington, you have to rebound off a tough loss a week ago on the road to Oregon.
The crowd already is getting into it right now. Now, for Tuiasosopo, he is the man, but he has inexperience around him at both running back and wide receiver.
Marques Tuiasosopo, one of my Heisman candidates at the beginning of the year, a great player, both with his legs and with his arm. And I'll tell you, he hasn't gotten the help so far this year from the receivers and the running backs. But look for Washington tonight to spring a young freshman as well, Rich Alexis at tailback.
Meantime, the reason Oregon State was able to beat USC last week was a determined defense, but also a tremendous running back by the name of Ken Simon, who ran for a career-high 234.
Kenny Simonton, the most underrated player in college football, the second leading rusher in the NCAA. He packs a wallop, Steve. He's got great elusiveness, great power in a small frame, and he really gets lost behind those big offensive linemen. Look for him to have a real tough going tonight. A couple big defensive players for Washington.
Well, on the sidelines throughout this evening is our reporter, Lisa Molosky. Lisa, we talked about offense. How about the other side of the ball?
Big things in the Pac 10 will be on the field tonight. The Washington Huskies, led by junior Larry Triplett, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. He leads the Pac 10 with 5 sacks. His job tonight, finding a way to stop the nation's number 2 rusher, Ken Simonton. And speaking of the Beavers, Oregon State needs senior DeLawrence Grant to step up big. He leads the Pac 10 with 4 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. His job, containing Huskies quarterback Marques Tuiasosopo, who loves to run the option. In fact, Steve, Marques is Washington's leading rusher, so Oregon State's defensive ends must come up big tonight.
And Lisa, he does have the ability to go for 300. He did it last year for Rick Neuheisel, passing and rushing for 200. And Neuheisel said he wants his team to play less tense. He felt the players and coaches pressed at Oregon last week. At Oregon State, Dennis Erickson has had a storybook first 2 years in Corvallis. Took the Beavers to their first bowl game last year in 34 years. Last week, he knocked off USC, as we said, for the first time since 1967. Oregon State won the toss and deferred to the second half, so they are kicking off to Washington. And the Huskies are bringing it out from about 7 yards deep. And down that left sideline for the Huskies is Derek Johnson.
Oh, the true freshman, Derek Johnson.
Marques Tuiasosopo, big and physical, 6'2", 220. He is a senior from Woodinville. He's thrown for 875 yards, but 7 interceptions. His backs and receivers, Paul Arnold is a sophomore. So is Jeremy Stevens. They want to get the ball to Stevens, who's 6'7". They have an offensive line that averages 314 pounds. Chad Ward is their All-American candidate, and they will go to Paul Arnold, and Arnold is through. And Rick Neuheisel thought that Arnold was being a little tentative. That time he attacked the line of scrimmage. He must attack this defense. Jackson and Grant are their ends. Atkinson and Manning are their tackles. They are good against the run. Darnell Robinson leads them in sacks with 4 this year. In the secondary, probably the best in the Pac 10. Carroll, Carlisle, and Weathersby, all at least honorable mention, all Pac 10 last year. Ryan Atkinson on the tackle. He is the 6'6" senior from Santa Barbara, California.
It is a first down. Jim Fogelstance, the referee, signaling a first down by about an inch. That makes Neuheisel happy. I know what makes Neuheisel a little uneasy on the opening kickoff. Derek Johnson, the true freshman, takes it out from about 8 yards deep. That'll get you to play a little less tense. Go ahead and cut it loose.
Well, Rick said yesterday, as you gain respect in the country, sometimes you get tight, and he felt the entire club played that way last week at Oregon. Paul Arnold remains the running back, and he will get the call to carry, and he sprints to the outside, very close to a first down. I believe they will mark him for the first down. So Washington attacking a very good run defense of Oregon State.
Well, they really are getting some big blocks up front on this play, springing Paul Arnold. Watch him as he just bounces it outside right there, outrunning Darnell Robinson. But when you think about what the Huskies have accomplished this year, they ended up knocking off Washington when they knocked off Miami a few weeks ago. That looms a little larger now with Miami knocking off Florida State today.
Not much there as they run the fullback Pat Conniff, and striking was Eric Manning, big number 99, the sophomore from Compton, and they like his future a lot.
Yeah, they're getting good play by both those defensive tackles, Atkinson and Manning. Now, they're thick guys. They're about 280 pounds apiece. That's what leads to that. Rushing defense, only 59 yards rushing per game, leading the Pac 10.
Washington has 26 yards rushing on this first drive, so they're almost there. Tuiasosopo will scramble. This is where he is so dangerous. Incomplete, intended for Jeremy Stevens, and Stevens will complain that Calvin Carlisle was holding. No flag.
It looked as though the defensive back was draped all over him. I see it from the end zone. Marques comes back, and he is so effective, Steve, as you mentioned, breaking out of the pocket. All of a sudden, Tuiasosopo becomes a two-dimensional player. Carlisle over the back of Stevens, but Stevens is so big you can't tell that someone's hanging on him.
3rd and 9. Washington with a record of 3-1. You see what they have done, converting their third downs this year, and they have a senior and one of the best quarterbacks in the conference to lead them. Stevens is on the right side. The blitz is on, and there's DeLawrence Grant with the sack. His 3rd this year. There's a lot of orange in that west end zone.
Craig Bray, the defensive coordinator, was going to bring a lot of heat, and the time to bring heat, 3rd and long situations. A great look at DeLawrence Grant, just speed rushing on the outside, beating big number 74 Wes Call. Now they're bringing on Ryan Fleming.
He averaged 40 last year, but under 37 this year, punting to the dangerous Ricky Walker, who started his career at Oregon State as a running back. And now he's been moved to the cornerback, where he plays a lot of nickel for Dennis Erickson's defense. Fleming angles it towards the right sideline. It takes a Oregon State bounce and will be down at the 13-yard line by the Huskies. Scoreless game. Oregon State will go on offense when we come back. 10 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Washington with a record of 3-1. They lost their first game of the season. It was a conference game last week, 23-16 at Oregon. Big here at Husky Stadium. OSU goes on offense for the first time tonight. Jonathan Smith, the quarterback, will go deep, and it is incomplete, and perhaps a misread because his receiver broke out and should have gone long. Jonathan Smith, the smallest quarterback in the Pac 10 conference, only 5 feet 10 inches tall. He has only completed 43% of his passes. They say it is his footwork. Ken Simonton, we told you about that young man, but TJ Hushmanzada, Robert Prescott, Chad Johnson, tremendous speed. The offensive line averages 310 pounds across the front. Chris Gibson, the center, is their best lineman. 3 wide receiver set. They will stay with that, and they run Simonton. Not much there, but a flag will go a-flying.
5-yard face mask penalty against the defense. Repeat, second down.
Steve, you said it a year ago, where the Beavers turned the ball over 7 times. The Husky defense was able to make 2 scores. You see Jeremiah Farms got the face mask incidental. Oh, he came back, got it again. Might have to throw that flag twice.
5 yards, 2nd and 4. They run Simonton past the 20, and he is very close to the first down. Defensively for Washington, Larry Triplett is the All-American candidate in the middle. He goes 6'1", 295, and really can blast off the ball. The linebackers, Darrell Daniels, our leading tackler with 38. Jeremiah Farms will also go down and play a defensive end spot as a rush end. Their secondary is very strong. Lowe and Bontour Anthony is their best cover corner. Williams and Akbar are very strong against the run. He's in the shotgun. Smith whips it and completes the pass. Hushmanzada past midfield to the 45 of the Huskies. Let's go down to Lisa Miloski.
Thanks, Steve. Unfortunate news for the Washington Huskies. Matt Conniff is done for the night. Right knee, Steve.
And that is why we saw Braxton Clement, who is a former tailback, go in for Pat. So that is a tough loss. He was Marques Tuiasosopo's teammate in high school at Woodinville, and they play so well together as a tandem. Simonton is ripped for a 3-yard loss. Hakeem Akbar came blitzing from his free safety position.
What's interesting about Oregon State, they have a new line coach, Dan Cazzetto, who came over from Arizona State. He just happens to be in that Northwest coaching fraternity along with Keith Gilbertson, Dennis Erickson, Cazzetto, and all the rest of the coaches on the 2 staffs. And I'll tell you in a minute what the addition of Cazzetto has meant.
Smith looking deep, wide open. Robert Prescott, touchdown. The Beavers scored first last week against USC, and they won by 10.
Great use of play action. Again, able to get Jonathan Smith, who has been having a little trouble throwing the ball from the pocket, out on the edge. He finds Robert Prescott, his senior receiver, for a great throw and catch. Touchdown, Beavers.
Ryan Seska for the point after. Oregon State early by 7. You know what, Mitch, I would have done it if we had 7-0. Robert Prescott on a 48-yard reception from quarterback Jonathan Smith. Smith got his feet set, fired a strike, and Robert can't get any more open. 3 plays, 65 yards, 7-0 Oregon State. Ryan Seska kicking off. This is Derek Johnson. Johnson smothered at the 15-yard line. So Washington's turn. Tuiasosopo with Paul Arnold in his backfield. 85 yards to go against starting core field position. Tuiasosopo, 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9. And Kevin, that is a football team that is reeling after losing at Oregon State and also losing today. So the Trojans, who were as high as 8th in the nation, have really gone down. Here's Tuiasosopo, deep tot, Elstrom. He is in bounds. I had to wait for the call because the officials went against the Huskies on their first offensive drive.
A great look at Elstrom. He's going to be in the slot. Little play action into the line of scrimmage. You see him at the top left-hand corner of the screen. Runs a little corner route, beating Hayward Johnson. Watch, he comes inside and then just a shake route right out back to the corner. When you mentioned, Kevin Frazier said SC suffering 2 losses. That'll pretty much take you out of the conference race right at the beginning.
Unbelievable, and I thought that was the most talented team. Now it is the youngster Rich Alexis, and Alexis is flashing for plenty and finally pulled out of bounds after about a 25-yard gain. This is the true freshman who only played his final year of high school football because his dad wouldn't let him play.
Boy, he's a big-bodied guy, and you see he's awfully fast. Rick Newhouse, before the game, I asked him how early he's going to get Alexis into the game. He said early. We got to get his RPMs up, and he can bring it. I think that's a nice thing about playing young players too. They'll play hard for you. They're not afraid to lumber up in there and get hit.
6'3", 215, true freshman, Coral Springs, Florida, from Hope John Paul High School. And now Tuiasosopo goes play action pass. Looking downfield, he wasn't there, so he swings it away to Jeremy Stevens. And there is Dennis Weathersby, one of the best cornerbacks in the land. All right, Lisa Miloski, what do you have?
Well, you mentioned Rich Alexis. He did indeed play only 1 year of high school football. As you pointed out, his dad did not want him to play. Rich snuck onto the football team as a freshman. In his first game, he scored 5 touchdowns and threw for another. He went home and said, "Hey, Dad, I played." Well, his dad said, "Well, that's nice. You had a great game, but you're not playing again." Finally, before his senior year, his dad relented. Rich went on to run for 700 yards, 13 touchdowns in 9 games, got a scholarship to Washington. Steve?
Thank you, Lisa. Here is Tuiasosopo going Alexis. Flag is down. Alexis is to the 10-yard line. But this flag is probably going to go against Oregon State, Tom. You think maybe there was someone in the neutral zone?
I think it's offside, Oregon State. The play will probably stand. Look at the call right now.
Offside on the defense. Pac Ten is refused. First down.
Steve, the best recruitment, take a look at Oregon State jumping Jeremy Stevens and Lawrence Grant there. But the best recruiting tool was not by the Washington Husky staff on Rich Alexis. It was the place kicker, John Anderson, who found Rich Alexis.
They went to high school together.
Exactly. He said, "Hey, Coach Newheisel, there's a guy on my team that's really good." And sure enough, they went down there and said, "Would you mind taking a trip out here to Washington?" Take a look at the rushing yards. Washington doing what they wanted to do, 75 yards on the ground, and Oregon State really getting away from their game plan.
Alexis, last 2 carries have each gone for 23. He gets it again, trying the middle this time, and this time pushed back.
And even though Oregon State's getting away from their game plan offensively, they still got a big score so far.
Paul Arnold comes back in for Washington. 2nd and 9. Ball at the 13. In motion, the true freshman Justin Robbins. Tuiasosopo with a shot to the end zone. Touchdown, Robbins!
How do you redeem yourself from a penalty? You catch a touchdown. That's what you do. The young freshman, Justin Robbins, who lined up more or less in the backfield. Looks like just a mix-up on coverage right there. Dennis Weathersby, one of the first ones to get over there, but he was way late.
Justin Robbins with his first touchdown of his college career to tie it. Washington drives 85 yards down the field to tie it up with Oregon State. 2 teams ranked in the top 25. And now kicking off Washington. Robert Prescott on the return. Prescott past the 30-yard line, still on his feet to the 35-36, where he's finally dropped. Now Ken Simonton, not much, maybe a 2-yard gain. Patrick McCall, the new running back in the contest, number 8, and they really like his skills. I mean, he's a junior like Ken Simonton. Built low to the ground, 5'10", 198, but he can really fly. He was a great running back at Carson High School in Southern California. Went to Michigan and then transferred. So if Oregon State goes to the Rose Bowl, he could go to the Rose Bowl with 2 different teams. Went with the Wolverines, could go with the Beavers. Oh, what a hit. Chris Massey, the nickel defensive back, redshirt freshman from Valley View High School, Moreno Valley, California.
Boy, that is a big-time hit by Massey, but Prescott, the veteran receiver, holding on to the ball. That is a great play by Prescott, holding on to it. He's an explosive player right now, creating a 3rd and 3. You saw how important that catch is. Now all of a sudden you get to a play call, and you're Dennis Erickson on the sheet, and you might be able to run Simonton here.
McCall, though, stays in the game as the tailback. Smith to throw. Jonathan fires to a wide open tight end, Martin Maurer. He has the first down inside Washington territory.
Maurer does a nice job at the line of scrimmage. He's going to come off. He just keeps working for Jonathan Smith, the good tight end. He's a hard-working guy, good size, 6'5", 243. Reminds you a little bit of the other great tight end in the conference, Todd Heap from Arizona State.
Now Smith will run, and it is Patrick McCall, and McCall is gone. They've got 2 guys who can bring it. Ken Simonton, his backup, Patrick McCall, scoots 43 yards for the touchdown, and the Beavers back in front.
You talked about McCall a minute ago, Carson High School, and then went to Michigan, and he's really a code #1 back. I mean, he's that good of a back. He just shows his explosiveness, scoots up the field, got a couple great blocks out in front, and just hauls the lumber into the end zone.
Seska and Oregon State back in front by 7. Patrick McCall came into this game with only 118 yards rushing because he was playing behind Ken Simonton, but he blessed 43, capping a 4-play 65-yard drive. So it's Washington's turn. It's been a game of tennis in this first quarter. Last 3 possessions, we have seen touchdowns. From the 4, Derek Johnson finds a seam. Johnson out of bounds past the 40-yard line. He has had 2 strong returns in this game. Terrell Roberts finally knocks him out of bounds. Well, the true freshman Rich Alexis back in the game as the tailback with 4 seconds left, and they will give it to him. And he's got a big hole left side. Alexis, first down and more. Hey, this kid can run. That is the end of the first quarter. We've seen some good running backs, good backup running backs. Patrick McCall went 43 for the touchdown, and Oregon State leads by 7. Oregon State with the lead, Washington with the football, and already after 1 play at the Oregon State 44-yard line. Rich Alexis, the true freshman from Coral Springs, Florida, has 60 yards rushing on only 4 carries, and he stays in the game. Play action. Tuiasosopo must get rid of it because the one guy who did not bite was DeLawrence Grant. He just followed number 11, Tuiasosopo.
Boy, the quickness of DeLawrence Grant from defensive end. I guarantee you Marques Tuiasosopo has not seen a lot of guys run that fast, and Oregon State comes in. You see their rush yards so far, 50. Pat McCall getting a whole bunch of those. Total yards so far for Washington, 153, and Washington's got 89 off the ground already.
And what is interesting about that is Oregon State is 4th in the nation.
That's right, at
rush
58
defense.
yards.
58 yards allowed per game. Play action. Tuiasosopo all kinds of time, then it erodes. And good coverage from Keith Hayward Johnson. Was it too much? I believe so.
A late flag came out in the defensive backfield.
Pass interference on the defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Dennis Erickson not real happy with it. Watch him locked up. Hayward Johnson came back through the back of Terry Tharps, number 10. That's where the flag came out. It was a little late. Oregon State. You see Dennis Erickson on the sideline.
You know what?
Too many penalties.
That reminds me of his Miami days. The Hurricane had a lot of penalties.
That means you're playing aggressive.
Yep, they won 2 national championships for him. Tuiasosopo in trouble, and he is sacked. Sifa O'Reilly, backup defensive end to Ladarius Jackson.
When the defensive ends are bringing it off the backside and the front side, just putting a lot of pressure on Tuiasosopo. The pocket just closes in around him. 45, O'Reilly.
Sifa's first sack this year. Tuiasosopo downfield. There's Jeremy Stevens inside the 20-yard line. Jay Cookus, another defensive back who plays in the nickel or dime situation, was the man who wrapped him up, but it is another Husky first down.
Well, this is one of the things Washington was going to do. They detached the tight end, Steve. They flexed him out as a wide receiver. When you have a big-bodied guy, 6'7", 255, let him go catch the ball. 22 catches already this year, 21 in all of last year. Washington has always had a great tradition of turning out some good tight ends, too.
Now he's back to the option. He'll carry it himself. Marques inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Very close to the Verizon 1st and 10 line. James Allen on the tackle.
And just that added dimension of Tuiasosopo running the ball, that'll keep Craig Bray, the defensive coordinator of Oregon State, up a little bit in the evening, preparing for the game. You see, he averages 4.3 yards over his career. I mean, that's huge for a quarterback. He has the tools to play at the next level. Of course, his father, Manu Tuiasosopo, a UCLA All-American and also a great pro with the 49ers and the Seahawks.
Stevens goes in motion. Alexis in for the touchdown. I think we have a star is born.
Boy, watch. 51 comes flying over the top. Alexis comes flying over his fullback. That's great football. And if you're a football purist, you always like those big goal line stands. You got to like the guys flying over the top for the score.
That is getting after it. John Anderson, point after, ties the game. Oregon State, the number 23 team in the nation, tied with number 13 Washington. Alexis for a yard and the tying score. There he is, Rich Alexis, the kid from Haiti, just went over for the touchdown. And Rich Alexis scores that touchdown, his second in his college career. An 8-play drive, 57 yards. Alexis is a young man. They really felt it was built like Reuben Drones, who we saw last year with Oregon. Just a terrific runner, hard-nosed, tough inside runner. But this guy has speed, too, to get to the outside.
I know if he runs like Reuben Drones, someone's going to be happy.
Rick Neuheisel. 2 yards deep, Ricky Walker. Fumble! Oregon State gets it back. Jay Cookus. Well, here's a team, Rams, that is #1 in turnover ratio this year, and they almost turned it over to Washington.
That's right. They lead the nation. Plus 2.5 a game. Cookus right there to fall on the ball.
It's that Verizon yellow line which indicates first down where Oregon State must go. From the 15, play action pass. Jonathan Smith deep. The catch is made by Chad Johnson. Tell you, Smith's got it going again.
Smith has it going because they do a great job of play action, and it allows Chad Johnson to just beat his man Amari Lowe on the post. Watch him come out of his break. The ball's thrown right between the hash marks, and Johnson goes up big for it. Just had great position on Lowe the whole time, and threw his hip into it, came down with a big catch.
At the Huskies 48, Simonton. And we haven't seen much of Kenny. I mean, he's averaging 32 carries per game. You think they should go back to that run game?
And I think he's going to probably get real close to his 30 carries a game. I think they've done a great job at the beginning of the game. They didn't necessarily show a lot of their run game, a lot of play action, a lot of move pocket for Jonathan Smith. They're able to put 14 points on the board. Of course, they had a great run by Pat McCall as well, but Kenny Simonton's going to get his 25, 30 carries. He's a resilient guy. I asked him before the game, too. He's awfully healthy, feels fresh.
But I think they'll play McCall a little more just to make sure he's healthy by November. They rip him down here. And oh, what a defensive play that is made by Ben Madavi. Let's go to Lisa Miloski.
Well, Steve, you're talking about Kenny Simonton. He is wearing a special pair of molded cleats tonight. In fact, I just found out that Nike made the pair especially for him for this game. They only have one pair. I asked if I could show you what they look like, but he's wearing them. I talked to him before the game, and he said he wasn't so sure what to wear on this turf, but apparently the shoes are working. Steve?
He's split out to the right with those magic slippers right now. 4 wideouts. Smith shotgun. Oh, and he's sacked. Greg Carruthers with a big blitz from his defensive back position. The true freshman from Helena, Montana. That's the 14th sack this year, one more than they had all last year.
Boy, the offensive line just collapsed. Carruthers coming through, really kind of a delayed blitz, and you saw him just, no one able to put a hat on him. He came through, put a hat on Smith.
So now Mike Fessler on for the punt on 4th and 7. Derek Johnson standing at his 10. Fessler will allow Johnson to get the return, but not much. Down near the 16-yard line after a 39-yard punt by Mike Fessler. We are tied at 14. We have been really enjoying fabulous weather the last 2 days, and not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures in the mid-60s. A beautiful night for college football in the Pacific Northwest. Blitz, dump off, Arnold, great catch. Arnold gets the first down. How did Tuiasosopo see that guy? And then Arnold juggles it and gets the 1st and 10.
Somehow Paul Arnold just came up with a great catch. He lines up in the backfield. They just kind of throw a screen out to him, almost just a little flat pattern, and he gets rocked by Terrence Carroll. Came up, made a nice tackle, but boy, that's just a great catch by Paul Arnold. Fingertip catch.
I tell you, Tuiasosopo got it from Ladarius Jackson. He went right down on the back of his jersey. 7 for 12. He's thrown the touchdown. They've almost doubled that. Tuiasosopo, Braxton Clement, big hole, another 1st down inside Beaver territory to the 40. Darnell Robinson on the tackle.
Nice job by Braxton Clement, who lined up in the fullback position, and that's part of the element of that option. You have the fullback coming right up the middle, or you have Tuiasosopo pressuring the end, who's optioning that end on the line of scrimmage to get the ball to the tailback. Nice job by Clement that time.
But they may lose a better blocker with Pat Conniff's knee injury, but they get a fine receiver. Here's Clement now coming out of the backfield, and he might be the secret weapon, because they weren't preparing for the fullback to see so much action, and he has really played well. Alexis, another big hole. Rich to the 20 and out of bounds. Tuiasosopo was determined to get his running game going. Right now, you have to give him an A+.
Well, last year they had 6 100-yard performances. This season, Washington has not had a 100-yard rusher. I think it's imperative to get Rich Alexis going. He's done a great job of getting going. The offensive line has really stepped up to the occasion.
You're right.
And giving him some holes.
He had a lot of room to run. 7 carries now for 87 yards for the true freshman from Florida. 3 wide right side. Plenty of options for Marques. Oh, timeout call. This was their second they have used in the half.
Timeout.
Jeremy Stevens had
Washington,
lined up
second timeout
split,
of the half.
and Tuiasosopo wanted him in. He saw the clock winding down. He said, let's take timeout. They have 1 more before intermission. Kevin Frazier, Kellen Winslow, Artie Gigantino, and those guys will be happy because they'll be ready to talk about it. I know Kellen wants to talk about this tight end, Jeremy Stevens, who's now splitting out like Winslow used to do with the Chargers. Tuiasosopo looked left, goes right. No, he's out of bounds. Todd Elstrom.
Elstrom not the fastest of the receivers, but the most sure-handed. And he's tall at 6'3" and 200 pounds. He just tries to out-jump the defensive back and unable to come down with it. I don't
Check his feet out.
It's close. He's out of bounds. Referee right there to make the call. But I like the fact they split Stevens out. They put a little more pressure on the defense that way.
Tuiasosopo on the delay. Paul Arnold smashes in there, gets to the 14-yard line, just a gain of 4, so it'll be 3rd down, and they will still need about 6-7 yards to go. How about this drive? 9 plays, 67 yards, and you said you thought both teams wanted to establish the run. Washington sure has.
Well, when you establish the run, you establish the time of possession. And Washington, when they own the time of possession in a game, they end up playing awfully darn well.
150 yards rushing. 3rd down. Tuiasosopo. Well, he has his man, but well shy of a 1st down, and boy, was Todd Elstrom drilled. Richard Siegler, the middle linebacker, and Darnell Robinson wrap him up.
And just a moment ago, you know, interesting talking about the rush game and time of possession under Neuheisel. UW is 9-0 when they win that time of possession stat. John Anderson, see his numbers so far.
From 27 yards out, Anderson, it is up. And it is good, and Washington has the lead 17-14 over Oregon State. When we return, we'll send you back to Kevin Frazier at our College Football Saturday studio with a preview of our Nissan halftime report. The biggest crowd in the series history between Oregon State and Washington, 73,145, but they haven't had a game of this importance. I'm telling you, like 35 years. 2 teams in the national rankings for both Washington and Oregon State. Here's the kickoff return. Robert Prescott brings it out across the 20-yard line. Ken Simonton, the running back for the Beavers. The All-American. Here goes Simonton. Simonton. Oh, he's quick. And he gets the 1st down and about 3 more. Let's go to Lisa Molaski.
Thanks, Steve. When Marques Tuiasosopo came off the field, he was not a happy camper. He went up to tailback Paul Arnold and said, "You've got to hit that hole." It was there. He said, "You're too good not to hit it." Steve?
Boy, that is like him, too. He is not afraid to get in a teammate's face. They run Kenny again. He spins by 1. He's to the 50, another 5-yard gain. You know, you really were impressed. We were watching video yesterday. Oregon State's win over USC, 1:18 left in the game, and you showed it back. They had 9 in the box, and he went for 36 yards. The whole defense designed to stop 35.
Yeah, you see his big numbers there, second in the nation. Teams commit to trying to stop Oregon State. I mean, they put 8, 9 guys in the box, as you said, on a 3rd and 3 versus SC. He rumbles 36 yards for a touchdown.
Patrick McCall in now, and the pass was low by Jonathan Smith, incomplete, and it will be 3rd down and 5.
At least being able to pick up yards on 1st down, they're able to give themselves a chance on 3rd down. 3rd and 5, 3:25 left in the half. You want to get a score on the board if you're Oregon State. This becomes a very big conversion. You want to gain some momentum before you leave the end of the 1st half.
Simonton comes back in. Jonathan Smith, the junior from Glendora, California. 1 for 3, converting 3rd downs. He drops the football. The passing game has been minus this year, even though they are 4-0. They've only completed 43% of their passes. And now Smith comes away from the center, drops the football, covers it himself. It is 4th down, and Mike Fessler comes on to punt it to Derek Johnson. Johnson, the true freshman from Riverside. Fessler hits it to him. Johnson from the 16, and what do we have? Whistle blew actually before Johnson even caught the football.
Well, they're going to say Johnson put his hand up as a fair catch, and as soon as you put your hand above your shoulder pads, the referees are going to call it a fair catch. Now remember, he's a rookie.
He wasn't, though. His hands were up to catch the football.
Well, I know, but it appeared to the referee, and they want to protect that returner. As soon as he puts his hand above his shoulder pads, and Bob Houck over there, the special teams coach, telling him, hey, keep your arms below your shoulder pads.
But you know what I don't like about that? Next time he goes out to receive a punt, he's going to be thinking, where are my hands? Rather than catch the football. Catch the football. That's the first, then run. Arnold off to the left side. Tuiasosopo looking for him. Now must scramble. There goes Marques. Inside Beaver territory. 1st down with 42 seconds left. He says everybody to the line of scrimmage. They will stop the clock until they move the chains. 18 yards in the run by Tuiasosopo. Well, he really is a weapon. He's looking downfield. Complete to the 31. Todd Elstrom, his 3rd catch tonight, 16 yards, another 1st down. Move the chains.
And you still have 1 timeout. You save that for bringing on your field goal team, but keep moving as long as you got the clock in your favor, with the clock stopping with a 1st down.
Elstrom in the slot. Tuiasosopo dumping it off to Stevens. Even closer now to the 20. Boy, they really have had a nice march to end this 1st half.
Very nice job managing the clock by Marques Tuiasosopo. That's got to make Rick Neuheisel very happy. The senior quarterback showing great feel for the offense and able to distribute the ball to a couple of his big playmakers.
You know, that is the advantage of having a coach who's a former quarterback. Dennis Erickson was one at Montana State, Neuheisel at UCLA. Quarterbacks are always conscious of that clock. Tuiasosopo, blitz in his face from Robinson. Elstrom, incomplete, no flags. Cookus and Carlisle both in the area.
Well, Carlisle was locked up on Elstrom in the slot. They tried to throw the corner, and Marques Tuiasosopo did the right thing. Got a lot of air underneath it, put it out in front of the receiver, and number 32, Calvin Carlisle, who is the free safety in the standard defense, but he's able to come up in 3 wide receiver sets and play that middle receiver just as a cornerback would. So that gives Oregon State an added dimension at safety.
I like that no call. 14 seconds left, 2nd and 10. From the 21. Tuiasosopo will run it to the 10, to the 6. He calls timeout. 8 seconds left. Rams, what do you do? One shot?
Well, well, you could take one quick shot into the end zone.
One fade.
You take one fade, maybe you throw it to number 14, but watch Tuiasosopo, the added dimension of his legs, and I think this is the prototypical quarterback in the NFL. I think Marques Tuiasosopo has a great feel for the game, knows when to run, protects himself, and right there, Rick Neuheisel saying, hey, let's go ahead and take a shot at it. You know you got to get the ball and get rid of it right away.
1st and goal, 8 seconds left.
And you got Stevens right there at the bottom of the screen.
The fade to Stevens, incomplete. And here comes the field goal team.
Why not take a shot? Perfect call. You got a guy who's 6'7" going against a guy who's 5'11". But I'll take that matchup. Just give him a chance. That's what Steve Axman right there, the quarterback coach, and Rick Neuheisel are telling Marques, hey, just give him a chance.
John Anderson, who has hit 3 from beyond 50. This is a very short one from just 23 yards out. It is on the way, and he knocks it through. Washington goes up by 6, 20-14. A beautifully engineered drive to end the half for a field goal by Marques Tuiasosopo. Well, one of the big plays, Alexis over the top, his 2nd college touchdown. The true freshman has been a big reason that they have run for 196 yards in the first half. Let's go down to Lisa Miloski, who's with the Washington coach.
Coach, you told us before the game that in order to win this game, Washington needed to find a running game. So far, so good. In fact, a nice performance by your young tailback, Rich Alexis. Can we expect more of the same in the second half?
Well, we're finding a nice 1-2 punch with he and Paul Arnold, and we've got to keep this defense off balance. They're a very fast defense up the field, so the screen and draw game hopefully can keep us alive.
Well, it was a great first half. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the second half. Now with the score, Washington up 20-14. Let's send you to Kevin Frazier in the College Football Saturday studio for the Nissan halftime report. Kevin?
It is an absolutely beautiful evening in Seattle, Washington. We are here at Husky Stadium. You look at the Space Needle, and all eyes, 73,000 of them, watching this game as the Huskies leading the Beavers 20-14. Steve Physiak along with Tom Ramsey, and 2 stats have to trouble Dennis Erickson, Oregon State's coach. The rushing battle, time of possession battle. When Washington wins both those battles, Rick Neuheisel's teams have never lost.
Well, they sure do. When you rush, they've almost rushed for almost 200 yards in the first half alone, 196 for the Huskies thus far, and they almost have controlled the ball for 19 minutes, over 19 minutes. You see right there, 21 first downs for the Huskies, 341 total yards, and I know Neuheisel asked of his offensive line when he came into the game, hey, you got to win the game up front.
So Washington will be kicking off, going from the north end zone to the south. Ricky Walker is back deep, along with Robert Prescott. Walker past the 20, and he is out near the 29-yard line. McCall skips to the outside, breaks another tackle and dives forward, diving toward the horizon line. Let's go to Melissa Miloski.
Thanks, Steve. Coach Dennis Erickson told me before the game that he took his players to a private showing at a theater this morning, 10 o'clock after breakfast, of Remember the Titans, movie of the college football team in Virginia, integrated in the early 1970s. Ken Simonton told me he thought it was a great movie, very inspirational, about a team coming together to win a championship. That's what the Beavers want this year. Steve?
Saw that movie just last weekend with my family, and it was terrific and very inspiring. And Oregon State has played inspired football tonight. It's always interesting the choices coaches make to get their clubs fired up for the big games.
Anything to motivate them. And Keith Gilbertson was the featured speaker this week for the Husky coaching staff. coming into the ball game with the Beavers and talk about some of those Pacific Northwest ties. Get those players amped up a little bit.
From the 42, they play action to McCall. Then they throw it to Prescott, and Prescott open. Akbar has to make a touchdown saving play to knock him out of bounds.
Jonathan Smith has done a nice job all evening keeping the ball away from the defenders, and right there he's able to deliver the ball on time to Robert Prescott. Doing a great job reading the defense. Prescott just breaks across the middle. He's right there. Makes a nice catch. Nice run after catch.
First and goal from the 9 after the 34-yard play. Smith to Prescott. McCall, 5-4, 3-yard line. Finally stopped by Jamon Willis, the outside linebacker. Akbar again with another tackle. He's got 15 now.
I like Pat McCall. Rick Neuheisel really doesn't like him right now, but of course he came out of Carson High School, played at the University of Michigan, earned a championship ring with the Wolverines.
A chance to tie. Second and goal from the 3. McCall in there, right to the goal line. Had he been able to free his arm, it looked like he might have been able to stretch that ball over, but it was being held back by a Washington Husky, Darrell Daniels.
And what's interesting, Jamon Willis, number 6, right there on the tackle as well to put the stop on McCall. What's interesting about Willis, they were teammates at Carson High School down in Southern California, putting a hat on his old buddy.
Third and goal from now the 11. Jonathan Smith looking, firing, touchdown! Hushmanzada. A great throw by Jonathan Smith, and Oregon State ties this game at 20.
A rifle shot out of the arm of Jonathan Smith. Watch him, he gets pressure, steps up, sets his feet, and then just zips the ball out to Hushmanzada. He just put that on a rope.
Seska for the lead. Oregon State back in front. DJ Hushmanzada with the touchdown catch on a 3rd and goal from the 11-yard line. After 2 penalties had pushed them back, Hushmanzada with the catch.
Huge, 11 plays, 89 yards, taking 4:34 off the clock. Boy, that's impressive.
I knew I was going up. What's up? A taunting call on him when he raced towards that sideline. Here's the kickoff from the 1. Derek Johnson still on his feet to the 30-yard line. And there's Rich Alexis for about 5.
And one of the things Rick Neuheisel talked about as he left the field at halftime was the great 1-2 punch that they delivered in that first half. Rich Alexis and Paul Arnold. There's Randy Hart right there, the defensive line coach, talking to his guys. They're getting held. They know it. Shake loose. Randy Hart, an offensive guard on some of Woody Hayes' great teams. National champions back in '68. Randy Hart and I were talking before the game. I said, the guys are just too big. And he says, yeah, and fast too now.
Tuiasosopo will keep it, and he is wrapped up. But Ryan Atkinson and Eric Manning have really done a fine job on that interior. Washington over 200 yards rushing on the evening, 213. But it's really not the fault of Manning and Atkinson. They've controlled the middle. A lot of it has come from the outside. 3rd and 7 for Tuiasosopo.
This is what Oregon State and Craig Bray, the defensive coordinator, like. This pressure defense. They've held Washington on 3rd downs tonight, only 3 for 7. Look for them to play aggressive and bring someone on the blitz.
Both wide outs to the left. Play action. Tuiasosopo fires and completes the pass to Justin Robbins. Robbins has the first down. Robbins had the touchdown in the first half. And the true freshman from Olympia, Washington, that Rick Neuheisel really feels has a great future, but he said he is just growing up. And he said this club hurt a lot. Warren Hooker going to the Olympics, and then Chris Juergens injuring himself.
And what he does so good, he just sits down right where he was supposed to, right on the hash marks. Marques Tuiasosopo knowing right where he is. Interestingly enough, they did not blitz last third down. They only brought 4.
Someone may have been in the neutral zone. Tuiasosopo maybe with the free play. I don't see a flag. Here goes Paul Arnold past the 50. And Arnold very close to another first down. They will mark him out at the 45. And they'll still need probably about 6 inches for a first down.
And Steve, again, the veteran quarterback doing 2 things to an aggressive defensive front. One, he's changing his cadence up. Secondly, they're throwing a lot of screens. They want those defensive ends to come up the field, take themselves out of the play, get the ball over their heads. Paul Arnold, again, doing a nice job catching the ball and running with it, picking up some blocks.
Tuiasosopo going for the home run, incomplete to Todd Elstrom. No flag. The coverage again from Calvin Carlisle.
Carlisle is a great cover guy in the slot, coming right at you. The ball gets thrown, nice ball, gets out nicely. Carlisle again with just great position. Ball is all over the turf. Watch Carlisle, he just ball's on the ground right there.
Yeah, it's a drop.
And it's rolling. I think Carlisle got his hand in.
I think you're right. Now 2nd and 10. Again, Tuiasosopo looking downfield, and the catch is made. Todd Elstrom, they went right back to the sure-handed receiver from Puyallup, Washington, who was a wide receiver for one of the Hewards, Luke Heward, who went to North Carolina. And the guy who's hurt, James Allen, who has a right hip problem, and he might be suffering it again.
18, Todd Elstrom right here. He has really picked up his game. Last week versus Oregon, the Ducks really neutralized him. He was not able to get free and allow Marques Tuiasosopo some opportunities. And this week, though, against the Beavers, doing a nice job.
Braxton Clement just for 2. But you're right, because Elstrom with 5 catches for 62 yards. That's 19 catches for the junior wide receiver. Would you go end zone here just because there's kind of
you bet.
Been a lull?
You bet.
In intensity?
I think I might find Wilbur Hooks. I might take a shot deep right now. Number 7, Wilbur Hooks, going to the top of the screen, right under the box.
You've got Stevens split out as well as the tight end. He'll be in single coverage.
Stevens right there in the slot.
Tuiasosopo back to throw, in trouble, steps up. He finds Elstrom. Elstrom inside the 15-yard line for a first down. Terrence Carroll, the big hitting safety, knocked him down, but Elstrom got wide open that time, Tom. And now Carlisle, who's been such a strong free safety, coming out holding his right hand.
And they did a nice job. You're going to see Elstrom come across over here, across the screen, dragging Tuiasosopo. Once again, he took a little bit off the ball right there. You saw that, put a nice handle on the ball, made it a nice catchable ball, and then Davida Mawala just came and just said, hello.
Still Washington, still driving. Paul Arnold now is running back. Tuiasosopo to Elstrom to the 5. Very close to a first down. I believe he has it. He needed to get just across that 5 for a first down. Nick Barnett, the outside linebacker, making the tackle. But Tuiasosopo, you know, his whole game is working right now. Marcus Smith up to the line of scrimmage. For Tuiasosopo, needing inches for the first down. Rich Alexis back in. Alexis hammered and knocked back by Terrence Carroll, number 44, the strong safety. There's 48 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. The Beavers by 1.
And interesting, they have Rich Alexis running between the tackles down near the goal line. That's one way for a young running back to mature very quickly. Get him into the heat of the action near the goal line. Right now they missed their fullback, Pat Conniff, too. But Braxton Clement, the experienced running back, able to move up into that fullback position.
First and goal. They got the first down. Now they give it to Clement. Clement to the 3. Well, I think Clement playing the fullback really gives him an additional weapon. Pat Conniff was a slugger up the middle. Clement has unusual speed for a fullback because he normally plays that tailback spot. Darnell Robinson on the tackle. We have played our final play of the third quarter. Jonathan Smith, though, the quarterback for Oregon State, got the Beavers back in front on his 11-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver T.J. Houshmandzadeh. 21-20, Oregon State.
Another thriller in the Pac 10. Oregon State by 1 over Washington. Steve Biziak along with Tom Ramsey. Big players play big at big times, and here's Marques Tuiasosopo having another terrific night.
Just a great game. Tuiasosopo really leading the way thus far for the Huskies. And I tell you what, their offense right now, a 2nd and goal at the 2.
And here comes Marques. He will hand off, and they will not get the touchdown. They get to about the 1.5-yard line as Dennis Erickson's defense straightens up. Atkinson Manning from the middle of the defensive tackles, and also inside linebacker Richard Siegler.
And Steve, what's interesting, no turnovers tonight by either team. One time Oregon State laid the ball on the ground. They were able to recover their own fumble, but on third down conversions tonight, Washington so far 4 for 8 on third down conversions, but this by far the largest of the evening for them.
Tuiasosopo leaning forward, and again they push him back.
Yeah, they didn't get it. A great defensive stand again, and I think the biggest defensive stand so far in the game. Oregon State, before the first half ended tonight, they were able to stop Washington near the goal line as well. Washington only able to get a field goal before the half, but that's just great team defense right there.
3rd and goal. Rich Alexis, the tailback. Alexis easily walks in. Huskies back in front.
The offensive line does a great job. 51 Siegler comes and tries to stuff the hole. He just took on the wrong hole. And James Allen taking on the fullback Walker, and Alexis just prances in.
I mean, here is Oregon State. The last time they were ranked was the final poll of the 1968 season. Number 15, DeAndros was the coach, and their record was 7-3. They will go for 2. Huskies drop the football, kick it around, picking it up. Oregon State, and they can go the distance and get the 2 points. Keith Hayward Johnson, 98 yards.
Wow. A huge play because the defense scores 2. If you miss a conversion and the defense takes it all the way, like we just saw, Keith Hayward Johnson, the senior corner, saw the live ball on the ground. Just a missed snap. Marques Tuiasosopo gets nailed by his fullback, and then Rich Alexis not even close to Hayward Johnson.
They are officially calling it a 96-yard return by Keith Hayward Johnson. And Rick Newhall said he can't believe it. Oh no, oh no. And now just 3 points separates Oregon State and Washington. Dennis Erickson saying, run, Keith, run.
That's right. He's got those two fingers, 2 points up in the air. Tell you, they're going to miss Eric Manning, though, defensively when they come back out on defense. Manning has played exceptionally well on the interior. Watch, the ball just never gets up. Quarterback center exchange problem. Kyle Benn, the center, and Marques Tuiasosopo unable to execute. That's off to the races.
Now a field goal can tie. I believe we are a long way from the end of this game. We got 14 minutes and 1 second. Who knows? We might have another 30 points.
And Steve, neither team had committed a turnover up to that point, and all of a sudden, a couple points swing the other way, and now it's a 3-point game.
Ricky Walker. Walker diving forward past the 30-yard line. Both these teams do well in the fourth quarter, and here we've got 13:51 to go. Jonathan Smith at the controls. Simonton back in. He's been quiet. Kenny gets it and gets a couple. Simonton now rushing the football only 73 yards on 14 carries. He's been averaging almost 32 carries a game. But in the fourth quarter, look at this, Tom. Both teams are strong.
Yeah, they really are. Oregon State 176 to 57. And remember, they waited until the fourth quarter to put one of their opponents away. New Mexico, down at New Mexico, they won the game on a 4th and inches call with Simonton going the distance.
The speedster Johnson is covered by Chris Massey, top of the screen. Play action, blitz on! Smith is sacked. They brought Curtis Williams from the strong safety, and he just flew into the backfield.
Curtis Williams, a strong safety. Take a look. He's right here. He's going to come and sneak in. Does a nice job. They don't account for him. All of a sudden, he breaks through the gap, able to just knife in, make a nice play on Jonathan Smith for a sack.
Now it's 3rd down and 33. 3 wide left. Washington shows a 4-man rush. Smith backing up. Jonathan going deep. Incomplete. You know what? There were about 2 Huskies who had a chance in that. Hushmanzada, Prescott, juggled it around. Those are the times you look at it in slow motion, you go, oh, I got it.
Well, Prescott's right in the middle of the field right there. He tries for the jump ball. He almost comes down with it. I tell you, had the ball been thrown a little earlier, Robert Prescott was open down the middle of the field.
Fessler on to punt. He hit one 65 yards earlier, pinning Washington back inside their 10-yard line. 4th straight year he has been the regular Oregon State punter, and he almost had that one blocked. The 38, Johnson goes down near the 39-yard line. Timeout in the field. 10:32 remaining. The Huskies 26, the Beavers 23. We'll be right back. Number 13 Washington by 3 over number 23 Oregon State. Fourth quarter, 10:32 remaining. Verizon presents 1st and 10 all season long on Fox Sports Net. College football Saturday. Verizon, making the world of communications a whole lot simpler. Huskies football at their own 40. Tuiasosopo handing it off. Nothing. Again, Eric Manning has been kicked out of the game because of throwing his helmet on the Huskies' last touchdown. Juan Edwards is his backup. He's a 6'3", 267-pound redshirt freshman, Columbus, Montana. And there's Juan Edwards. He has speed. They said he was a linebacker and a fullback in high school. Also a great athlete, averaged 22 points per game in basketball. So he takes over for Eric Manning. They show blitz, and here they come. Tuiasosopo in trouble. The dump off to Arnold. This screen pass has worked beautifully all night long.
They've run the screen about a half dozen times tonight. They've run it in their own territory deep. They've run it in the red zone. They've run it out in the middle of the field right now versus an Oregon State blitz. DeLawrence Grant actually did a great job. He tied up about 3 blockers and allowed his cohorts to come over and make the tackle, but after a first down for Washington.
I'll tell you, this has always been a league of great quarterbacks, but I think he is #1 in this conference. Carson Palmer, Joey Harrington, and others. Willie Hurst in the game. They run Braxton Clement, the fullback, though, and Clement with a short carry. Braxton Clement has been almost a secret weapon in this game. They've run him very effectively from that fullback position after they lost their starting fullback, Pat Conniff, to a knee injury. Conniff goes 6'1", 245. Clement much smaller but faster at 6 foot 215. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. They rush from the right side. They give it to Arnold. Big hole right side. There goes Paul to the 30. Arnold to the 20 and out of bounds. First down. "27 yards for Arnold."
Well, the nice job up front. Kind of a little delayed draw action. And then you see Paul Arnold's speed. He came in heralded with such great speed a year ago as a true freshman. They were able to work him somewhat into the offense, although Maurice Shaw carried the majority of the time at running back last year. Arnold, though, at 86 yards himself.
As a team, they have 250 yards rushing. This is the defense that held USC last week to only 63 yards rushing. Tuiasosopo goes right back. This time Rich Alexis, 10, 5 to the 4. And it is another first down for the Huskies.
And what's interesting, Rich Alexis over 100 yards tonight for the Huskies. And that's the first time a UW rusher has gone over 100 this year. Rich Alexis, a true freshman. Nice 1-2 punch tonight, he and Arnold. But right there you see the vision displayed by Alexis. Nice north and south runner, keeping his shoulder square to the hole and able just to lunge ahead. Not a bad average tonight, 8.9.
Tuiasosopo on the keeper, dives for the touchdown.
Tuiasosopo, watch, he's going to end up, if we can hold it right here. Oh, he makes a great fake out to the pitch man and beats the defender on the line of scrimmage. Marques Tuiasosopo showing his experience again.
He's run for 40 and a touchdown. He's thrown for 223 and a touchdown. And he has given his Huskies a 10-point lead over Oregon State. Tuiasosopo has been all over the field, helping his team to a 10-point lead. And he told us he has never considered it acceptable to sit down after any sporting event and say, I could have played harder. He gives it everything he has, from the opening kickoff to the very end. Going to one knee is Robert Prescott. The crowd gets into it.
And watch for Prescott right here in the slot.
Blitz. Smith in trouble, going deep. Look at this pass! Chad Johnson, gone! Oh, Jonathan Smith slipping and sliding and still fires a strike to Chad Johnson. 80 yards.
Let me go ahead and pick up my jaw off the floor here. Jonathan Smith blows out his shoe, steps up and just heaves one. This is like, hey, Jonathan, throw it as far as you can. And the 4.3 40, Chad Johnson just able to sprint into the end zone and beat everyone in the defensive backfield for the score.
Wow. What a game. Seska Oregon State within 3. Chad Johnson, 80 yards on 3rd and 10. Beavers right back in it. 33-30. Jonathan Smith having another big game against Oregon State. He has thrown for 291 yards now and 3 touchdown passes. It was just 2 years ago that he set the Oregon State record with 469 passes against the Huskies. He had 8 plays over 25 yards that night. How about that? A minute drive, 3 plays, 80 yards. Now they kick it out of bounds. Paul Arnold slipping through. Arnold up past the 45 to the 46. Terrence Carroll, the strong safety, with another tackle.
And Washington started out in pretty good field position. The ball went out of bounds, and then they were accompanied with a dead ball personal foul against Oregon State, so it put the ball in great field position. And then Paul Arnold just knifing it up inside. He's close to 100 himself tonight.
Hey, Rams, let me ask you a question. Here is a team that has rushed for 278 yards in the game. They're going against a defense that's very fast. Are they just getting tired because they're physically outsized?
Yeah, I really think the Washington offensive line had a challenge to themselves before the game. Keith Gilbertson, the offensive coordinator, and I spoke before the game, and I just said, hey, who has to step up, you know, big, real big tonight? And he goes, the entire offensive line.
And they have. They have just seen their second running back go over the 100-yard mark. Paul Arnold with 102.
And they were prepared. They had a good week of practice. Take a look at the senior dominant offensive line, and those guys.
They average 314 pounds.
They haven't missed too many meals.
2nd and 6. Tuiasosopo trying to find Jeremy Stevens. He had 3 white jerseys around him, and it will now be a 3rd down and 6 yards to go.
And Tuiasosopo, you know, we talked about Jonathan Smith putting up 469 yards a couple years ago here in Husky Stadium, and I know when Rick Neuheisel was at Colorado, he saw flashes of greatness by Tuiasosopo several years ago too. He went crazy in a big game versus Nebraska in relief of Brock Heward. Threw for 270 yards, but right now this is when you got to convert. The 3rd down and 6. Watch, I believe it's Elstrom in the slot.
Blitz. Tuiasosopo picks it up, now must scramble. Incomplete. And Oregon State will get it back down by 3 inside 5:50 to go. Yes, he was looking for Elstrom, but the rush came hard, and it came from Dwan Edwards, the defensive tackle who had to replace Eric Manning, who was thrown out for tossing his helmet earlier.
Boy, the rush did come hard. Oregon State, Craig Bray's defense has not let up. Craig Bray, of course, the defensive coordinator. He coached for so many years at Washington State, so he knows the Huskies and their schemes very well as well. Husmanzada, big returner for Oregon State.
Fleming lets it go. Husmanzada takes it at the 16, and then he spins. He's in trouble. He is back near the 10. Well, he winds up running for about 35 yards and loses 2.
I think that's just a great job of Washington special teams containing Husmanzada. He was averaging 22 yards a return on punt returns, and they held him to 0 just then.
Simonton skips through, and then he is cut from behind by Curtis Williams. Lisa, what do you have?
Well, OSU free safety Kevin Carlisle has been on the sideline since he hurt his right shoulder. He actually played in that last series. He's got a significant wrap there on the arm to prevent the shoulder from moving up and down too much. He has been back in the game since the injury happened, though. So Steve, he's a tough guy. We'll see if he goes in next time.
From L.A. Dorsey High School, same high school as Sparky Anderson. You better believe he's tough. 2nd and 2, Simonton, 1st down.
And I'll tell you a guy just as tough, Kenny Simonton. Wow. He just gets hit and keeps on coming. Simonton, 97 rushing yards tonight. Take a look, averaging 138 over his last 17. 1,600-yard games.
He's probably telling his big guys up front, come on, give me just a little crease, and I'll break one for you. Now from the 26. Simonton again, fighting his way through. Hey, Rams, how difficult is it to find him? Here's a guy 5'7". He gets behind those big offensive linemen, and can you see him?
Well, no, you can't see him. Watch him follow the big guard right here. He kind of dips in, and then he gets lost. And if you're a safety man like Akbar is, the free safety coming up to tackle 35, you can't really see him. But I was talking to Simonton before the game. I mean, he is built like a 300-pound guy. He is barrel-chested. He's got a big set of legs.
Washington showing blitz. Hakeem Akbar. They give it to McCall. McCall straightens up Darrell Daniels and pushes him back. And he may have gotten that first down. I believe he did.
Boy, the offensive line doing a nice job. Again, they've been running this little counter action. Watch the guard tackle move. And then McCall, the running back, just follows big Mitch White, the big pulling tackle. 6'5", 311-pound senior.
Sesko warming up, trying for the tie. We saw Florida State trying for the tie earlier today, the #1 team in the nation. They would miss from 50 yards out. And they will not be #1 anymore. McCall diving forward. And he's past the 40, out near the 43.
And Steve, this is what Dennis Erickson is thinking right now. 3:45 left in the game. This is his final drive. One timeout left. So this is your final drive. You don't want to anticipate the fact that you might get the ball back. You got to score your points now and hope for the best.
Simonton back in. Ken gets the call, the carry, and slides past the 45, but he still will be about 2 shy of a first down. Jeremiah Farms came from his outside linebacking position to put the hit on Ken.
Good offensive philosophy here, too. They've really hurt the Huskies defense with a couple long passes tonight. I'll tell you, third and very short, you can be hurt with play action too, because if you're the defensive front, you're looking run all the way here.
And you're looking Simonton. Here he goes. Very close. He needed to get past the 47.
And he got it.
He got it.
He just is so powerful and low to the ground. Ken Simonton, I asked him, I said, hey, Pittsburgh, California's got to be pretty proud of you. And he said, I get a lot of great support from home, and he is just really a true guy you can look up to. Nice role model. I mean, he runs hard, plays hard, practices hard. You gotta like that.
107 yards rushing now for Ken Simonton. They fake it. They throw it to Martin Maurer, and they almost had it picked off by Anthony Von Tour, who was blitzing from his left corner position.
Boy, Anthony Von Tour, watch him from the corner. He comes up, and then he jumps. And Steve, he almost picks the ball off. This is a great play by Von Tour. He realizes it's a throw out to the tight end. He almost swipes it. Watch Maurer gets a little piece of him. Boy, great pressure that time by Jeremiah Farms.
2nd and 10. Husky Stadium picks up the volume. Von Tour showing blitz again. Here he comes. And Smith falls down. I believe the offensive guard stepped on his foot as he came away from center.
Boy, you got to like Tim Hundley's defense, the pressure defense. And now, look, if you're Dennis Erickson, you do have 2 minutes left right now. Boy, Jonathan Smith, he's having some problems with his feet. One, he loses his shoe a couple plays ago, and then the center stepped on his foot that time.
Just take the shoe off and throw it to Chad Johnson. 7 for 12 on 3rd down, and Husky Stadium is rocking. TJ leans forward, a yard shy. 4th and 1. Curtis Williams on the tackle.
4th and 1, game on the line. This is what Oregon State faced a couple weeks back versus New Mexico. They had a 4th and 1 on the plus side. In fact, it was about the plus 42. Right now they're sitting on the plus 43. 4th and 1 against New Mexico. They gave it to Simonton. He broke versus New Mexico and scored a touchdown on 4th and 1.
They've got McCall in the game, and Simonton is on the sideline. Patrick, 1st down and more. 35-yard line. Tell you what, they are impressive.
Give it to that #1 back, Pat McCall. I think, really believe Simonton's the most underrated player in college football, but you're going to hear a lot about this player too. Pat McCall, a great athlete coming out of Carson High School, went to Michigan, and then transferred to Oregon State because of Mike Riley.
Seska has had problems the last half of 1999. Just 1 field goal this year. .52 seconds remain. Smith fires, completes it inside the 25. Hushmanzada falls in the football. Very close to a 1st down. He had to go back to get the football, so it might be. This will allow the clock to still move. Now the officials will stop it to measure. No, Oregon State has to call timeout. Where's the mark? It is short of the 1st down.
A huge play. Rick Neuheisel knows he's 0-1 in the conference already. A 2nd loss in the conference will pretty much knock them out of the race. Oregon State undefeated. One of the lone undefeated teams still in the nation.
2nd and 1.
Hey, you know what? You could take a shot deep. Right now, it's a great time.
You also have Simonton. And they'll go counter Simonton. He can't get free, and they can't stop the clock. Larry Triplett did a great job from his defensive tackle spot to just flush by the guard and center.
Larry Triplett swelled up to be a mountain that time on defense.
They stopped the clock.
Crazy. Boy, I tell you, they're going to wish they threw it on 2nd down. So much time burned off the clock. You take a loss on the running play.
The counter has worked so many times, but it is a play that takes a lot of time to develop.
This is a very long field goal for Seska.
From 46 yards out. The longest in his career from 43 for the tie. On the way. No good. We saw it already once today with Florida State losing to Miami.
Boy, and Dennis Erickson knows that being pushed back on that Simonton run play, probably not throwing the ball on 2nd down, really hurt that opportunity to tie the game.
And Rick Neuheisel knows that he is just 14 seconds away from going 4-1 this year. Tuiasosopo, 1 knee. It is all over in Seattle. Oregon State will suffer their first loss of the year. They'll be 1-1 in conference play as well. Washington moves to 4-1. They win their first conference game of the year, and they will take on Arizona State next week. 33-30, Washington over Oregon State. Another terrific game on Fox Sports Net.
Well, just fantastic. Rick Neuheisel and his team, the Huskies, get back in the conference race. A big, big win for them at home.
For Tom Ramsey and Lisa Miloski, I'm Steve Physiak. College Football Saturday has been a presentation of Fox Sports Net.